Hi, I'm Magda from Interiors Exteriors. This time I invite you to a 57 square meter apartment of a family of 4 with small children, where we'll find various clever modifications and solutions created by the residents. As usual, we're starting by the door, which has been repainted black. This entire entrance area has been highlighted with a dark green color, which also appears in the decorations, including those made by the owners themselves. Look, this key rack is just a little board painted black, with a decorative hem glued on. It's a really cool idea that you can also do in your own homes. And when it comes to practical matters, take a look at this LED strip that turns on with a motion sensor. It's really useful when you come home with groceries. Something that all parents with sleeping children definitely know. Kids often fall asleep in the car in the evening, then we carry them inside, and it's hard to look for light switches. And at the same time, it's better not to trip over anything, and then such gentle light that turns on by itself can be a lifesaver. But here, further on, we still have a lot of shoe cabinets, because all the shoes go straight inside so that nothing is left out in the open. And here, further on, behind the mirrored front, there's also a wardrobe. Initially, there was a recess for a closet in this spot, and here was a bathroom with the entrance on this wall. Now, when this entrance was bricked up, a cabinet could be placed on the other side. Here, however, a wardrobe was made. There's plenty of space for jackets and coats, and there are also hooks to quickly hang something up. However, it's not just a wardrobe, but also a storage space. There are several appliances here, including a washing machine. Since the plan originally included a toilet, connecting the water was easy. In the central part of the apartment, there is a hallway area that has also been used for storage, which is why there are 2 dressers here, each with its own history. This one was repainted to match the color of the other, and both of them had legs added so that the cleaning robot could go underneath. When you have small children at home and you want to store not-so-safe things in drawers, such as tools, cables, medicines, or household chemicals, it's better to use proper locks that will prevent small children from opening them. It's always a good thing when we can decorate our homes with good design and art, and this particular painting was created by the owner's sister, Sylvia Jakulevich. In the living room, the main color accent is the yellow sofa, and thanks to the large mirror and the big balcony window, we have a sense of spaciousness here. Although the living room and kitchen together are just under 18 square meters, designing the kitchen was a challenge because it turned out that the side wall was too short to fit both the refrigerator and the tall cabinet with the oven. That's why a partition was added at just the right distance to fit all the appliances. The television fit perfectly on the wall, while the niche created on the other side was used to make a bookshelf when arranging the apartment. The budget was already running out, so at first a cheaper countertop was chosen, and only after a few years was it replaced with the final one, made of conglomerate. During this change, the upper cabinet fronts were also replaced. First, to refresh the look of the kitchen, and second, so they would be longer, extended, so you could open them without leaving fingerprints. Because even though we have a push-to-open solution here, we don't have to use it. Precisely because the front is longer on the inside, you can see that the cabinets have the color of the old fronts, and it definitely looks much more interesting than if they were just white inside. The apartment is on the 5th floor, while the patio you see here is on the 4th. So on one hand we don't have that much height here, but on the other hand it's still some height. That's why the sofa that was placed here at the end was moved, so that when children climb on it, they don't have access to the railings, because safety is the most important thing. Over the years, the color concept has changed. Nasypania. Over time, the color concept has changed. That's why we now have this beautiful green wallpaper and a mustard-colored headboard. To achieve this effect, there was no need to replace the bed. Ready-made upholstered panels were simply attached to the old one. In bedrooms, windows are often a big challenge, especially for people who can only get a good night's sleep in complete darkness. In bedrooms, blackout windows are a big challenge. Pay attention to this when buying, but an alternative could be blinds. Look. When we close them, it's really dark. In the children's room, the main feature is the bunk bed, which is not only a place to sleep, but also for storage and play. At the bottom, we have a large drawer where you can put a mattress and have a pull-out bed, a third place to sleep. However, when there is no mattress, you can also store a lot of things there. And you can also store a lot of things here in the steps, which are a much safer solution for little ones than a ladder, so two benefits in one. And at the top we have a rope structure that was made by the children's dad so that no one would fall out while playing. The wall behind the bed has been decorated with special stickers. I think that with these swans around, it's even easier to drift off to dreamland again. This armchair is over 50 years old, once belonged to the grandparents, and has now been renovated. The owners took care of the wooden elements, while the upholstery was replaced by a professional. And as you can see, the piece of furniture looks great, and I have to say, you might think that an armchair is an unusual piece for a children's room, but that's not the case at all. Anyone who has read to children before bed knows how important it is to have the option to sit comfortably. This spot may have school desks in the future, but for now, it's a play area. And on the wall, there are practical decorations, a shelf with toy cars, and a sensory board made by the children's dad. If you'd like to make something similar, take a close look at it, because it could be a great inspiration. It's also a great way to satisfy children's curiosity about objects and accessories that we normally don't allow them to touch. It has a very positive effect on the layout of the room when the door isn't right in the corner, but set a little away from it. Ideally, around 65 cines to fit a wardrobe behind them. However, even if there's less space, we can still use it, for example, by putting in a small bookshelf like this. Moving the washing machine to the storage room made the bathroom much more spacious. Next to the sink, there's ample countertop space, plus a cabinet and two wide drawers below. In a bathroom for a family of 4, you need to plan a lot of storage space for cosmetics, and it's the same here under the shower. Baskets were used in the interior to keep everything organized. Furnishing this apartment from the developer's state cost just under 100,000 zlotys, but that was in 2018, before the biggest price increases of recent years. However, what is still relevant is hunting for a bargain. All the household appliances were bought in one store during a big promotion, while the children's bed was bought on Black Friday for several hundred zlotys less. That's all for now. I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, where you'll find many more interior design inspirations. Also, don't forget about our store at www.zunitoza.pl. And I'm looking forward to your comments. Thumbs up. And I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.